All right, 28 weeks later. I know a lot of people want the 28 months later to happen. With kind of how this goes, not sure 28 months would make all that much sense, but maybe in that one, this little kid has given them a cure, and they have it almost but all cured, and then a rage virus 2.0 comes out, some mutated strain of it that the vaccine doesn't work against. I don't know, but it would be cool to see that this storyline expanded upon. That Rose Byrne's character and Renner's character and all these people gave their life for a reason. Man, this cast is phenomenal. This has got one hell of a cast. It even has my you guys know, if you follow my channel enough, I have a new crush like every week. Like every fucking week I have a new one. Sometimes they bleed over into each other, so I'm still like on a really big Samara Weaving kick right now for sure. But Imogen Poots, I've seen her in a few movies recently, and I forgot she was in this. Now, I looked, and I think it says, as far as the math is concerned, that she's 18 years old in this, so I think I'm all right. But she's a very beautiful young girl in this, regardless of whatever age she is. Remember that Keira Knightley is 17 years old in Pirates of the Caribbean before everyone starts judging, okay? Let's stop with the judgment. She's a very beautiful little girl. And plus, I shouldn't have said little girl. That made that sound creepy. No. She's a very beautiful woman. Okay? But, yeah, I'm more into her now, for sure, 1,000 times over. Moving on. So this has Robert Carlyle, has Rose Byrne, has Jeremy Renner, has Imogen Poots, has fucking Idris Elba. It's got the black dude from Lost, I think, and I've seen him in a ton of shit. I always forget what his name is. It is Harold Perrineau? No, Perrineau? That's, I'm reading off the thing. I'm not like going off of memory here. Something. Anyway, I've seen him in everything. And he is the helicopter pilot in this. And is this the first movie that features a helicopter zombie annihilation? Because I know we get one in Planet Terror. And I feel like we've gotten other ones. But this is 2007? Ooh. Grindhouse came out in 2007. In April of 2007. I remember because I had the poster up on my wall. It was like April 6th, 2007, if I remember correctly, from the poster I used to have in my room. What was that? 2007. I got it right when the movie came out, so it was like 13 years ago. Shit. So which one came out first? It's weird. They both came out the same year. Interesting. Great scene, though. Would a helicopter be able to fly that low to the ground and chop up bodies without being thrown off course and crash? I doubt it. I doubt it heavily. But it's a movie. Fuck it. All right, so we fast forward 28 weeks later. Now, I think this is 28 weeks after, like, the end of the first movie. It's not like 28 weeks later from day one. Because 28 weeks is about 6 months. Somewhere in the movie they mention something along the lines of they starved 6 months ago. Like, I think it's in the very opening. I don't know. There's something in the open, but they say something about time in the movie where I was like, I don't feel like that matches up. But they do kind of go through it in the opening of like 28 days later, day later, 20, whatever. And this is 28 weeks later, but somewhere in the movie they say something that just doesn't match up. But anyways, they all starved to death, which is great. 5 weeks later, starvation. So 5 weeks later, I guess 5 weeks later would still be about 6 months. If it was 28 days and then 5 weeks, that's 6 weeks taken off 22 weeks. That's close to 6 months. I guess it could line up. Anyways, all right. God, I spend so much time gapping about fucking gapping. Jesus Christ. Am I like talking through a gap in my teeth? I'm just gapping. I wish I could have whistled there. That would have really landed that joke. So the reconstruction begins about a month earlier. This movie, man, holy shit, does it move. This movie has all killer, no filler. Straight up. This movie is crazy fast paced. Because we don't focus on what the world is like inside this newfound civilization that they're trying to rebuild. Like, we don't get to know anyone's lives. We don't focus on anything. Nothing at all. Like, not at all. It's just the kids go, they find their dad. So we get the opening with Robert Carlyle where he leaves his wife behind. And then he leaves his friend behind and this kid behind. And he is racked with guilt. And why his kids aren't with him, I don't know if that's disclosed or not, but he goes and his kids are found, and they bring him in on the train, and he meets up with him, and of course he lies to him. I saw your mom getting, bitten and this and that. Now, granted, when they found her, she had been bitten. She just so happened to be immune. And so he goes in, and he has no idea, but he goes in and he asks kind of for her forgiveness, and from how long she's been out there living off of, there's maggots everywhere in the food that she's eating. Jesus Christ, this woman really, really slummed it for a while. And she's like mentally gone too. Like when the kids show up, she doesn't know what to do. She's like feral. So then the dude comes in, tries to apologize. She barely, you can tell, I don't even think she remembers. She's just happy to see him. And it's in that moment, it gives her a kiss, and then he turns, and then he kills her. So his love kills her twice. Like, she gets betrayed by this guy twice because of her love for him. That's brutal, man. He gets infected, and then it's not even like, because she's immune to it. She's not immune to having her throat ripped out. He goes in and he just fucking mutilates this woman. Damn, brutal. And, Imogen Poots in this reminds me of Scarlett Johansson when she was really young, too. They look very similar. Very, very similar face. When they find that mom, though, it's the, oh, shit. They didn't focus on that enough, I have to say. I feel like that's kind of a flaw in the movie. I guess maybe they've focused on it enough. I'm just used to them kind of drawing that kind of stuff out. But it's really not used for as dramatic of effect as it normally is. It normally could be. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, they set this character up to have betrayed everyone. Then the wife's found. And he doesn't really deal with the consequences of it all that much. He dies, so that's a pretty damn harsh penalty. But I just feel like that could have been drawn out a little bit more. Like, his kids could have attacked him more. Like, he could have had this moment where he had redemption of some sort. There's no really redeeming the character. Now, granted, you never know what you're going to do in that situation. You always want to believe you're going to be the hero. I'm going to go run in and I'm going to save my wife. I'm pretty damn sure I would. I'm like 99% sure. I definitely don't want to ever have to find out. And I would be so bummed at myself. And he doesn't even hesitate. He never even goes back. Like, he's no hesitation in this guy at all. He looks back. He's definitely like upset about it. He's not like a total sociopath on this. He's not like, peace, bitch. So it does haunt him, but didn't stop him at all. He did not even hesitate for 1 second to go back. So yeah, he's not the best husband. She could have done better. She should have married someone else for sure. And oh man, when the infection breaks out and they're all trapped down in that, I don't even know what it is. It's almost like a parking garage, but it's not. Something like that. inside a building. They're all locked in this room together. And then they shut off all the lights basically, and they turn on emergency power so they can barely see. And then could you imagine like being locked like shoulder to shoulder in a room, having knowledge of what had already happened? So you got to remember that this is a post apocalyptic world that these people are living in. These people that were all there had lived through this already, and so they knew what to expect. And when they went in there, they knew what was going on. And they were just sitting there thinking like, oh my God, what if this gets loose in here? And then it does. They hear the screaming. They hear the frantic, running. They hear all that stuff. That's just wild stuff to me. Like, just imagine being locked in a room with a virus you are aware of. You know what it does. Nowhere to run. And people are starting to turn right and left around you. The amount of fear. You can't even kill yourself. It's not like you can be like, fuck it, I'm just going to break my own neck, shoot myself. You can't. You got to die. You got to die a horrible, horrible death of being ripped apart. It is odd to me, though, that in these kinds of movies, that something I've always had an issue with like zombie movies and such. It's like they're supposed to be, flesh-hungry zombies they're just looking for a meal. And it's like, but once they grab a body, shouldn't they sit there and consume it until they can't eat anymore or until the body's gone? Why do they continue to keep moving on and biting other people? Like, you would think that there wouldn't really be many zombies, because the zombies that there were would just sit there and they'd feast on the body they captured until it was gone, and then that body wouldn't be a zombie anymore. They rip it limb for limb. Like, we see all these gruesome deaths in these movies, these Dawn of the Deads, Day of the Deads, where they like literally rip their innards out and rip their neck and their fucking heads and arms and shit off. And it's like, you don't see any of those zombies out there. So it's just odd to me that they don't just sit there and consume. Like, that's the whole point of them, right? So, but it's a movie. You just gotta accept it. Then the sniper shootout with Renner up there with all those other guys, and they're just like given the green light to kill everybody. Oh my God, that scene's so intense. And I like also that they don't make Renner a flawless character. Like, he kills civilians right and left for like 10 seconds, 30, 20 seconds. He kills probably 5, 10 people in that whole scene. And then he just realizes, like, I don't want to do this. It's not the Finn moment in Force Awakens or something where they're about to shoot the villagers and he's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to shoot one person. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to execute civilians that are surrendered. Like, that's not happening. Like Renner's character, he's a soldier and he takes orders, and, he knows the consequences. If he doesn't follow orders, this shit's going to spread. They have their plan in place. It's containment. If you can't contain, then you've got to execute everyone, and it's a terrible, terrible thing to do, but he does do it for a moment, and then he pulls out of it. We don't usually get that in movies. We usually get the, immediate rebellion, immediate, retraction. And he's like, nope, forget it, not doing it. So I like that his character is a little flawed, and he has his redeeming moment, man. He goes out there and he gets his ass burned to death. Wow. I love the sniper scene where he has to he's telling the guy to go run zigzag, and then the kid does it. He's like, I'm not a pussy, I'll do it. And he goes and he gets his shot. He's like, oh, this guy is frantic and he's not a crack shot, and just run as fast as you can. He probably won't hit you. Like, he'll miss, but I won't. Great stuff. He takes a shot, kills the guy. And yeah, I mean, I don't know why the guy that's up there isn't a crack shot. Shouldn't that be just one of the snipers? I guess it's just another random soldier that's sitting up there and firing. He's not a sniper, I would assume. So I guess that's the explanation. But I was like, isn't all the people up there supposed to be snipers? Should be just as good as him. He seems to hit everything, though. I mean, he shoots like 2-3 times, and he hits a fucking little mirror like this from forever away. That's pretty damn good. I know these guys are insane, so that doesn't make him like, a sharpshooter or anything, but could you hit a mirror this big from, half a freaking mile? I sure as hell don't. In 3 shots? I couldn't. And I mean, I like that the dad kind of hunts them throughout the movie. So, like in this movie, I feel like Robert Carlyle's character is the main, antagonist of the film. Like, he's the reason for everything, and then he's also the one that's chasing them throughout. Like, he's the villain. Like, he is the villain of this entire film. So, which we didn't have in the first one, really. The only one that we had that was recognizable is the dude in the backyard that they have chained up, and then he lets go. He's pretty memorable, scary looking dude. And yeah, so as I said, he push starts the car and they burn his ass. He's like, "I'll meet you there." He didn't meet them there. He's a liar. He's a liar. And then, yeah, I mean, these kids have to kill their own dad. Brutal. Could you imagine having to kill your own dad? That's just, I mean, some of you probably hate your dad. That's, there are some. So maybe that's not so terrible to you. But for those of you who actually like their parents, who love their parents, who love their dad, imagine having to, that would be so hard. That would be so hard. And Doyle, that's the helicopter pilot's name. No, Doyle's, sorry, that's not right. It's Renner's character. Doyle would have lived had the helicopter pilot just fucking taken them right then and there. Like, he cost him his life. And Rose Byrne, too, who's, you want to talk about another beautiful girl. Jesus Christ. She is such a good looker. And then we get 28 days later after this movie, and the virus has spread again, and this time it's in Paris. What that means for the franchise, I don't know. I saw that there was like a 28 days not prequel, but like 28 days short. A few of them. I'm sorry, guys. Shit, I need the rage virus to wake me up. Seriously, it's ridiculous. But overall, really, really good sequel. Idris Elba, I think at this point, was not a big name, so super underutilized. I feel like, it's just a very fast movie. It's not a bad thing. And I like that the zombies in this are fast, because that's way scarier to me. The zombies in this are terrifying. The zombies in Dawn of the Dead and stuff, they're not like pleasant, but they're not terrifying to me. Like, I wouldn't want to live in that world, but I just don't think they would be that hard to stamp out. Imagine if the coronavirus was as slow as coming at you. You don't think you'd have enough time to react? Like, if you're in the grocery store, instead of someone just coming up and sneezing on you, like if they were just like coming across the street, very obviously, you'd be like, "Stay the fuck away from me," and like just walk casually away, and you'd be all right. So there you go. Or yeah. So the 28 franchise, 28 days, 28 weeks franchise. Yeah. So I hope you guys are all staying safe. I hope that we can all get back to work and get back to normal soon. But fuck, man, I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is that you should not be injecting disinfectant. Just make sure you don't do that. Adios.